Welcome to Chess Thoughts, where we explore the ideas that shape the way we think and live. Today, we're opening a new section about some books reviews that I think you might be interested in. So let's dive into this book called How to Live a Life of Montaigne in One Question and 20 Attempts at an Answer by Sarah Bakewell. This book isn't just a biography. It's an invitation to reflect on life through the mind of Michel de Montaigne, a man who spent his days pondering, questioning, and writing about what it means to live well. You can find the link to this book in the video description. Montaigne was a thinker, but not in the way we often imagine philosophers. He wasn't interested in rigid theories or grand systems of thought. Instead, he turned inward, examining his own experiences, fears, and contradictions. And through that, he offered something profound, a way of being in the world that is honest, curious, and deeply human. At the heart of How to Live is a simple yet overwhelming question. How should we live? It's the kind of question that could take a lifetime to answer, and Montaigne never pretended to have a single definite response. Instead, Sarah Bakewell explores 20 different ways he approached life, each drawn from his writings and experiences. Let's explore a few of them. One of the most powerful ideas in Montaigne's philosophy is his openness to uncertainty. He didn't claim to have all the answers. In fact, he was skeptical of anyone who did. He questioned everything, including himself, and understood that the world is far too complex to be neatly categorized into absolute truths. In a way, his approach feels incredibly modern. We live in a time where people seek certainty about their beliefs, their choices, their futures. But Montaigne reminds us that life is fluid, and sometimes the best way to live is to embrace not knowing, to be comfortable with ambiguity, to hold our opinions lightly, and to let go of the need for absolute control. Montaigne believed that fear, especially the fear of death, holds us back from truly living. He spent much of his life contemplating mortality, not in a morbid way, but as a way of freeing himself from its grip. He wrote, "He who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave." What does that mean for us? It means that when we stop fearing the inevitable, we can focus on what matters, the present moment. Fear often paralyzes us. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong choice. But Montaigne's perspective is liberating. Life is uncertain, so why waste time worrying? Instead, we can focus on what's in front of us and learn to live with a little more lightness. Montaigne was a master of appreciating the ordinary. He found joy in the simple pleasures of life: good food, conversation, a walk in the countryside. He reminds us that life is not just about grand achievements or deep philosophical insights. It's about savoring the everyday moments that often go unnoticed. In a world obsessed with productivity and success, this is a radical idea. We're often so focused on reaching the next milestone that we forget to enjoy where we are. Montaigne encourages us to pause, to notice, to find delight in the mundane. Because ultimately, life is made up of these small moments, and if we don't appreciate them, what are we really living for? One of Montaigne's greatest strengths was his honesty about himself. He didn't try to present an idealized version of who he was. He wrote about his flaws, his doubts, his failures, openly and without shame. We live in a world that pressures us to be polished and perfect, to present only the best versions of ourselves. But Montaigne shows us the power of authenticity. He reminds us that it's okay to be contradictory, to change our minds, to be imperfect. In fact, it's not just okay, it's what makes us human. Perhaps the most beautiful takeaway from Montaigne is his ability to live lightly. He didn't take himself too seriously. He questioned, he explored, but he also laughed at himself. He found joy in curiosity rather than in rigid beliefs. There's something deeply freeing about this. In a world that often feels heavy, where we're expected to have strong opinions, clear goals, and unwavering beliefs, Montaigne offers another way to stay open, to embrace contradictions, and to allow ourselves the space to simply be. Sarah Bakewell's How to Live is more than just a book about Montaigne. It's a guide to a more thoughtful, more reflective, and perhaps even a more joyful way of living. Montaigne doesn't give us a single answer to how we should live, and that's the beauty of it. Instead, he gives us 20 different doors to walk through, each offering a new perspective. Maybe that's the best approach. Not to seek one final answer, but to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and to remain open to the possibility that the best way to live is simply to keep living. Thank you for joining me in this reflection. If this episode resonated with you, consider picking up How to Live and diving into Montaigne's world yourself. And as always, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep living. You've been listening to Chess Thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who might appreciate these ideas. And don't forget to tune in next time for more reflections on the questions that shape our lives.